I'm Plant C.
Mr. Sandy, if you'd come to the...
Sure. These are stacks. They're platform shoes. They weigh about 8 pounds each. That's what they put on big lick horses. This jug of water is what one of those shoes weighs. So, Mr. Sale, I'm going to start with you. If you pass that around, each one of you guys can see what that thing weighs. These are chains. These weigh 13.3 ounces. That weighs about 8 pounds. Tennessee walking horse is the only horse in America that they show in chains. In the world. In the world. The chains are there to create chains. Okay. That chain there is an 8-ounce chain. It's called a work chain. It's not legal to show in the showroom, but a lot of times they will show them with double pair. They work them at the barn with 2 pair of chains to get their feet pretty sensitized, where in the ring when they go in, they'll lift them high and step up. Y'all have an election going on, and I'm not going to get off into the time I've spent over at the TDC looking over documents. I decided to try to look at the documents to try to understand what had gone on in the past with regard to how the TDC got off into this. And it's been educational, and after everybody gets seated, you'll have your election, I'll come back in and share what I've discovered. I think that's the right way to approach it. Today, I wanted to address the issue about the big lick. That horse there is Jen's Ice Glimmer. He's my horse. His picture's in those folders I gave you, along with a picture of his feet. His feet are horribly scarred. They were scarred because of these chains. In your pamphlet, you have a picture of his feet. This picture was taken on July 28, 2015. The picture of him showing was 10 days before that. This horse got in the show ring and he showed with these feet. Now they cover it up and you can't see it. They get him through inspection. That's the game they play. In looking through, there's been about $95,000 that's been given to the horse show organizer in subsidizing this activity right here. This isn't something you guys deal with every day. I fully understand that. And that's why I'm trying to come with some solution or some idea of education and seeing what the solution may be. Mr. Phillips, you asked why we weren't here the last time, and I would like to make a standing request that if this is ever brought before you on a funding or a budget, I'll leave a permanent address where you can notify us where we will be here. And that's a fair question. Also, in looking through all the documents, I saw where Mr. Rowe was besieged by a bunch of emails, just like I told you, and he circulated it. But one more time, this is not something you guys deal with. This was out of the blue. And you have these animal rights people. Well, I'm not one of those. I hunt, I fish, I grew up, I eat ham. I'm animal welfare, not animal rights. But I love the horses. I love that horse. That horse has been abused, and he's a living example of what the deal is. A number of things have happened. Also in your folder, you have a show they had, the trainers shows coming to this community, what you guys agreed to give the money to. They had their big show in Shelbyville on March the 19th. Halfway through the show, they fired all the inspectors. Fired them. They didn't like what was going on, so they fired them. Halfway, the show, the USDA has a 30, and it's in your papers, 31% disqualification rate. That's animal cruelty. Pure and simple animal cruelty. That's why we're here. We're going to be out respectfully, like Americans, in front of the building next Thursday. If you want to come meet some of the folks, feel free to do so. This is going to be a class deal. Everybody's going to be acting like they're supposed to act. There's not going to be anything other than just education. These people love animals. They believe strongly in what they're doing. And so we're going to bring attention to the fact that we don't think it's right. And that's just normally what they do, what we do. I know this isn't the greatest thing to be happening during your tourism economy. I'm all for you. I'll do anything I can to be applauding, praising, if we can find some solution to this. And the solution needs to come after you have your election. And then I've had discussions with Mr. Phil's colleague, Ms. Myers, running the city council. There's possibility an ordinance might be the right approach. The city has a statute against animal cruelty already. And if you adopt an ordinance that just eliminates these pads and chains, that would solve it. Not just in the park, but the whole community. That would take care of the situation. If you go out there and bulldoze that arena, which only has been used once in 2 years, that might be another solution. Make a baseball field or a soccer field or something that kids can enjoy. I had a video presentation over there to show you a couple of things, and I know you're giving me a little bit more time than I'm supposed to have, and I'm sort of combining with Miss Phillips here. She's
No relation.
but no. Well, y'all have gotten hypersensitive to all this relation business.
Mr. Sack,
Yes.
giving you quite a bit of time.
I'm pushing over. Well, let me say this. I'll put it up there and let anybody that wants to see it once you guys adjourn. There has been any questions from anybody about anything, please?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I certainly, applaud your passion, and I don't think there's anyone on this board that condones any type of abusive behavior for any type of animal. But why, and again, maybe you don't know this question, but why is this not outlawed on a federal or state level?
Great question. Great question. The law was passed in 1970 called the Horse Protection Act. It has not worked. A lot of federal laws, when they're passed, don't work. There's presently a law in Congress that will eliminate this and abolish it. 18 of your 27 Florida congressmen have publicly supported. It's got powerful opposition in key places. As you can tell, in our country, we have an election, and it's hard to get anything through. Right now, we have a 4-4 stalemate on the Supreme Court. Efforts are being made to do it, and the Secretary of Agriculture and the President who appoints him, there's a regulation pending that will abolish this. It has not yet been published, but it's pending. It's recent news. That would take care of it. But this community, if you're talking about we'll do something for tourism, for your image, if you'll take a stand on this and let's come up with a solution that you're comfortable with, you will hit a home run. And I represent about 80,000 people that have signed these petitions, and they all travel, and you appeal to a pretty wide audience. And trust me, we will praise you, we will applaud you, and we'll urge people to come here.
My question was
Yes.
just the legality on a federal and state level.
Yes, sir. We're trying to deal with it on all levels, but the most important thing for a representative to see is the people care about it. That's where it all starts at the
It
grassroots.
doesn't mean we don't care if we disagree. We have car shows, and some of them have races and scratch off, but that's the police to do something about. Bike shows, some of them are louder than they should be, and bands, some of them get louder, and the police take care of that. And we support the horse show, and if it's illegal, I would think somebody would stop. That's not our job.
Mayor Thomas, it's animal cruelty. That's the overriding issue. And while it's legal,
Then it should be outlawed.
well, it should be, but if it's not, then you get the blame for hosting it, is the point I'm making, respectfully, is it's animal cruelty. There's no question. When the USDA goes into the trainers show on March the 19th, 17th to the 19th, 3-day show just like you're going to have here, and they find 31% of them are in violation of the Horse Protection Act, well, then that's egregious. That's too much.
Does that happen year after year? Do they find that same 30% or so in violation at these different horse
But
shows?
at the Super Bowl last year in August, they found 34% in violation.
You say it's political. I just don't know how that could continue.
Well, let me tell you this. A
How
horse,
it even got to us because I don't even know how it could exist.
Glimmer can't speak for himself. That's what I'm doing here. He's not like Francis the Talking Mule. If you're old enough to remember that, you remember Francis could talk, but Glimmer can't talk. People have to speak for animals. If it's cruel and this is being done to them, then somebody's got to speak up. And yes, sir, you have a point. Technically, it's not illegal to have that horse show, but morally, it's reprehensible. Now, go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to say we appreciate you. You've done a lot to educate us over the last 3 or 4 months. We've seen a lot of emails, and as Andy said, like you said, you'll be notified if we ever discuss this again.
Can't ask for a whole lot more than that, and
You'll be notified well in advance, but after the elections next Tuesday, that's, like you said, maybe you can come back and talk to some different people.
that's fair enough, and I'd like to be able to perhaps be, if it's agreeable, to be on the agenda for a limited amount of time, but to show you what I've compiled and found out.
My question.
Yes, sir.
These shoes, of course, they look terrible. How long do they put them on, and how long do they just put them on right before an event, or do they leave them on there for?
Excellent question. Glimmer was born in May of 2004. He put those shoes on that horse when he was 18 months old, and he didn't get them off till September of last year. That's 9 years, night and day, wearing these shoes. You see these bands here? There's a bolt that goes through, and they can tighten that up and make it tighter on his foot. That hurts him when he does that, okay? It's crazy. But yes, this horse wore those shoes 9 years. I had them taken off by a veterinarian after we digitally x-rayed his feet to make sure if we took them off, if it would harm him, because it's a shock to his system, because you remove something that big, yes, not be damaged by it. But his bones were in alignment, we were able to do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I just didn't know if you just put it on right before the events, or
No, sir.
something they just live with.
9 years, day and night.
Thank you.
And any other questions, if you guys want to come up and ask me a question, I'll be glad to answer it. What I was going to show you on there, since we met, some guy up in Tennessee works these horses, started off, he puts a video up on Facebook. He's got a baby horse out there he's riding. I say a baby, he's about 13, 14, 15 months old. It's a filly, that's a female, with these things on his feet, teaching him to do it. The horse has blinders on, big shoes, not that big, but not that big, with the chain, and it's shocking. And then it shows these things, and he's got two of them. The horse has a hoof that sits on here, and above the hoof there's the skin. They put stuff like Gojo, WD-40, you can get Gentle Clean, you can wrap it in plastic overnight. The next morning, you try it yourself, you'll find out. It's sensitive, it's like a sunburn. You go work that horse with the chain, that 8-pound hits, it's concussive, it's usually hard surface. If you go to the track out there at your park, you'll see it's hard surface. That chain hits that time after time after time. That's the cruelty.
We understand.
Okay.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Griffiths.
Thank you, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that wants to speak to?
Ms. Phillips has let me have her time, but
You've had more than enough time.
Well, I understand
I
that.
was very lenient with your time,
you certainly were.
very lenient. So if she's going to reiterate what you have to
No,
say.
sir. Ms. Phillips, what do you need to tell them? Anything?
I did concede my time to Mr. Shea. I
And he has.
will say that I've heard so many positive things today, and I hate for this negative to make an impact on what we're trying to do.
Thank you, we appreciate that. All right.
And clearly, there's been a lot of very good information provided to this board that we can use to act in future issues on this topic. But, the board has done what it's done.
I need 2 more sentences. In your packet, you will see a tax return item of $20,000 from Mrs. Milligan's 2014 return. That's for travel expense. It's 31 miles from her office over to that park. $20,000, and you
We don't talk
subsidize.
about other people up here. We talk about what you've got to do or what I'm doing. Somebody that's not here to defend themselves, I'd rather you just keep that to yourself.
My request is that you have her come here before you pay the money and you ask the questions that we can deal with that at the next meeting.
Okay, well, we're done.
Thank you.